bit too magic-y sounding. I want something kind of chill.
We're at camp. Campfire vibes.
Campfire.
Pierre almost fucking died.
Solemn.
Yeah, I don't know
campfire.
about like
It's like
campfire.
a dark, like Elden Ring campfire kind of shit. Foreboding a little bit. Oh no, not that. Fucking stop it.
No.
Ah. There we go. Much better.
Okay. So, last time, y'all fought a bad, nasty haint.
And Aang ate her.
Yep.
And it was really cool.
She did indeed nom the haint. She's very full now.
I think a lot of people have a lot of things to explain, is where we are. And our poor new friend, question mark, is very confused and very scared.
Yeah, did she say, like, any of that, or did she, like, stay in the closet?
I know she got woke up to the very initial bullshit, because she got escorted into the closet by Lorelai.
She kind of just woke up on top of the table.
Flying through the air to land on top of the
table. Got escorted into closet. Courtesy of Lorelai.
She has not come out of that little closet, and we'll just pick up right there on the heels of where we left off, where you are holding Pierre. He is stable. He is unconscious, but he is in a good spot. He is alive, and I believe you magically sealed some of his wounds, which in the state that he was in, it's very difficult to casually magically wave off. Like, you can heal scrapes and bumps in the heat of combat usually, but in this case you were like full on sealing wounds that would otherwise have killed him. So it's a bit hard to hide that.
It's also kind of hard to hide like little like magic scarves enlarging themselves and wrapping around Willow and Abigail and pulling them to safety.
Yeah. Paige and Willow simultaneously fucking cats out of the bag. There's no way in hell they can like be like, nah, it's fine.
It's fine. It's just the weird woods. Like, nope. Can't explain that shit. Can't explain Willow fucking magnetoing all the fucking cutlery.
I still have to say thank you for letting that bullshit happen. I thought it was fun.
Also, Aang just probably covered in viscera.
Aang and Maddie both.
And Maddie covered in, what was it, threads is what Dee was using?
Yeah, there were the thread that was stitched to keep her skin like kind of presentable. She was using that same thread as a weapon.
Lovely.
And there are still stitches in Pierre and Maddie both, but they are severed so that there's no danger. It's just that they're there.
Yeah.
I imagine Willow, because she stabilized and then Paige started healing him, She just kind of like absently picks a few of like the more gnarly looking ones out from Pierre.
Just they all slide out without much resistance. The thread itself is very fine.
But I think out of the group, we are very low resource-wise after that, but Maddie was the most fucked up.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think so.
No, Pierre was the most fucked up.
Well, I mean, Pierre is going to be a whole thing to deal with.
Paige gave him like 16 HP? after he was stabilized. But like,
change the fact that he was the most fucked up.
that's true. That's very true.
He's gonna be.
How about
or
this?
not, Maddie?
How about this? How about this? Maddie took a lot of damage. She tanked a lot of damage. Yeah?
Willow just, after a moment, kind of looks up at Maddie, looks her head to toe, and then you see her turn, kind of dig in the satchel that she has, and hold out a glass vial in Maddie's direction. Just kind of shake it a little bit.
Oh.
Fucking damn it. Hang on. My thing went black.
Oh.
Oh no. Lorelai, meanwhile, saw the healing happen over the table and is still balking at the revelation that there's multiple people who are magic in this one group. And what she's related to one of them, and the other one was supposedly just a regular magician, but now is an actual magician. Well, a magic magician.
Still shaking a healing potion at Maddie.
Okay, screen is back.
A box of fucking cat treats just...
Look over.
Maddie is not a cat. Damn it. A thing.
Take your medicine, Maddie. Take your medicine. You get a D8.
Yeah, fine.
And you reach over to take the potion, Maddie. You're having trouble when opening your fingers all the way, like extending your fingers out. And you notice that as you were reaching up to try and grab on the magically locked and restrained jaw of Dee Dee, her teeth gouged into your fingers so deeply that they may have done some what would probably be permanent damage were you not receiving magical healing. And your hand would be in a permanent state of curled from the deep gouges.
Use the other hand.
Roll yourself a D8.
Thank you.
We'll just kind of look over the table at Lorelai. See Lorelai staring. Just a little tiny smile. Will you hurt at all?
She blinks and just shakes her head like, me? No. But she just gestures at the rest, like the other two in the group. What? How long have you all been traveling together?
Where's the fucking
3 weeks?
Where's the calendar? Where's the fucking calendar?
Yeah.
Oh wait, the calendar. I don't have my calendar up either.
Yeah, the calendar is also out of date, by the way. But anyways, about 3 weeks.
Hylas looks off to the side. 2 days? Is that right?
Yes, we did pick you up right about the same time we picked Lorelai up. But, let's get Pierre laid down somewhere he can rest before we start the interrogation.
Hylas slowly puts his gun down and goes, "Ah, right. So, fighting over?" He's eyeing the rest of you.
Do you want us to fight you?
You next.
Lorelai speaks up and just goes, yes, the fighting is over.
He has his usual pleasant smile, and he lets the very decisive slinging the gun onto his back do the talking for him.
The gun on your back, meanwhile, just goes, what was that foul creature? This is not a beast of any kind. I've never seen a beast with 2 arms and 2 legs and a head like a maiden.
Buddy, you got some consistency issues. We'll talk about that. He looks up at the rest of at the people he was just talking to. And I think he opens his mouth to say something about that. And I think closes it.
So, was Hylas basically just talking to himself?
Yes.
Good to see
Raised
we're not the only
eyebrow?
ones.
I think I'll say seems you got a lot of cleanup to do. Want me to take care of anything? He seems to be changing the subject.
And Willow just kind of like rolls her eyes and looks at Paige. I'm imagining Paige is not tuned into this conversation right now.
No.
She will very firmly in French. Paige, we need to move him somewhere he's going to be more comfortable.
Get her attention, and she just instinctively grabs onto him tighter, where she's cradling his like upper torso and head. She looks up at you, and kind of like blinking, like she was just lost in thought, just kind of remembering that, like, oh right, it's a situation. And she just slowly nods. Oh, what the fuck? Hold.
Husband down.
Husband down. Either dropped food or tripped over the dog.
Both.
I dropped the dog.
Nah.
So he is currently investigating said sound of what fell over. We don't know yet.
Gotcha.
Okay, have fun. It's a mystery. He gave up.
We're not meant to know the answer to everything.
Yeah. So, she just gives a slow, like, nod. She looks down at Pierre, who is, like, fucking a foot, at least, taller than her. She's like, I don't think I could,
Well, it just nods and looks towards Maddie. Maddie? Hylas? Do you mind?
No ma'am. Mind what?
Motioning towards Pierre.
Oh, right. Where to?
Do we want to go to this room?
Yeah. So that's where we were already starting to set up as a, like, spend the night.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not currently battle trashed.
Yeah.
Can someone check on the girl? I forget her name.
Aang will volunteer too. She's got a tummy ache, but
wipe your mouth first.
Yeah, Aang, hold on.
Willow says that, and it honestly takes a second for it to register for Aang, and then she starts scrounging around for some cough.
Oh my god.
Paige makes a wave of like a beckon closer. Come back, please. To Aang.
Aang will come back over.
She's gonna reach in, grab a little handkerchief. She's gonna motion, Aang, lower yourself.
Down. Come down here.
Down.
Aang lowers herself.
Paige is going to cast Prestidigitation and wipe away blood with Hanky.
Let me ask you something. How much force are you putting into that?
Not much.
Okay.
It's very, like, dainty wipe, because she doesn't have to put force into it.
Cool. Aang will allow herself to be cleaned. Her skin feels kind of weird sometimes, because there's not much behind it.
Yeah,
but
just like
easy to wipe.
Swiffer duster amount of force.
Swiffer duster. And she will then stand and nod. Thank thee for thy kindness.
Paige just gives a nod.
Maddie and Hylas, as you carry Pierre down here, you notice that these two chairs here were pushed together like in like a block to make an impromptu bed. They were slid over here so that Aang could watch over Abigail as she slept.
Oh,
so there's only one chair left.
Put him
on the bed.
Put him on the bed. He's injured.
Okay.
I think it's at this point Hylas mutters under his breath, "Oh damn, he's alive."
You know what? Valid.
That's honestly, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Perception 100.
I'd watch your words around, Paige.
I think he just turns to you with a smile and a very decisive nod.
Maddie tries to give a thumbs up with her injured hand, winces, gives a thumbs up with the other hand.
Roll me a d20 really quick, Hylas. Just a flat d20.
Yeah, of course. I know how to do that.
Okay. The gun is silent. There's not any movement. I was gonna. This was a chaos roll to see if he would just comment and crack wise, but he's going to keep his mouth shut.
Wow.
There is
It's a
single
first.
shred of self-control.
I'm so proud of him.
Lorelai seeing so Paige, when you cast Presto for like to cleanse Aang of the gore, what does it look like?
So I imagine it's a lot of muscle memory for her, still disguising it. So you know when magicians do like quick change stuff, how there's like this like cloth or this like little thing that just hides them just for a second, and as it's pulled away, a different outfit. So imagine it kind of looks like that. So as Paige lifts this up and just gently wipes down, it's just clean Aang.
Fucking squeegee.
It's perfectly like magic erasers clean.
Yes,
Aang.
it's like MS Paint eraser tool. All the like viscera, but in one like swoop.
You can feel Lorelai's eyes like boring into the back of your head as you do this. Like Lorelai is fixated on all this magic shit, and she has seen it, and now she cannot unsee it, and she is intrigued and also a little hesitant and nervous. But she watches that, and she just like you can see her out of the corner of your eye, but she gestures and looks at Willow and just points both hands at Paige. Like, what is this?
Willow very slowly reaches out, pushes both of her hands down. Yes, I know. We can still manage to be polite, though.
Well, maybe you can.
We were raised by the same woman.
And she begrudgingly agrees.
Joe, I'd like to say that this is the expression that, out of the corner of their eye, if they look at Paige, side eye.
Lorelai will see that and just like, boop.
Gonna turn, I think, a nod of like, you're welcome, Aang, side eye. And then she's just gonna follow after the others. She's like, okay, there's others more important shit going in here.
As Paige is starting to leave, Aang will touch her fingers to her face and find that it's perfectly clean. In stark contrast to her efforts to clean up Maddie. And smile to herself and also to Paige. Thou shalt have to impart thy wisdom upon me.
I feel like. Is that to Paige as she's walking?
Yeah.
Imagine that gets Paige to stop. She turns, look over her shoulder at Aang. Maybe there's some Ajay.
Aang will nod. Obviously, she's busy. Start heading on over toward Abigail.
When you poke your head into the room where Abigail is hiding, you can see that she has shrinked into the corner, balled up behind her arms and legs, and is like holding a piece of wood that looks like a pot lid. And she's just hiding behind it. Her face covered, her feet pulled in. She is as small as she could possibly be, curled up in the corner. And when you like enter the doorway and your shadow casts into the room, you hear she shrinks even more, somehow finding even more of herself that she can compress into a smaller amount of space. And she's just like, don't come any closer.
Aang will nod in understanding and just take a seat, not all that bothered by the rest of the contents of the room. 'Tis only I. With thanks be to our brave companions, there is no more need of fear.
Roll me a diplomacy check.
Yeah, sure.
Aang.
Let me open up my sheet. Diplomacy. Up.
Bruh. On a fucking nat 20.
Mom carried.
Abigail,
Sorry.
I was gonna say the DC was 20, because she's freaked the fuck out.
Oh my god!
You know, it's fine. Paige's magic also fixed Angharrod's hair, so she's extra mom shaped.
This is true. So like Aang is clean, and despite all of the fighting that happened, when Abigail peeks over the wood and the wooden little pot lid she has, she doesn't see any blood, which she was fully expecting to see, and that catches her off guard, and she lowers the pot lid a little bit more, and she's not fully like uncurling herself yet, but she's at least like looking over at you in the pot lid. What happened?
Aang considers for a moment. How much detail are you? Art thou comfortable with?
She blinks for a second, and you can see her kind of processing. Just enough. She's not entirely certain of her answer, but you get the impression that she probably doesn't want the gory details.
Aang will nod. We entreat the services of one of my kind to find thee. When the contract came to an end, unfortunately, matters came to blows. It is all settled now.
She looks up and then tilts her head a little bit, trying to look past you. And she says, very, very astutely, "You have witches, don't you?"
Aang. Aang is an interesting person to say that to. She just kind of looks outside, looks back in. Multiple.
There is an extended arm with a water skin around the door.
Aang takes water skin and starts, unscrewing it and hands it, or, offers it to Abigail. I suppose that would explain some matters if there were multiple, but a witch is a terrible name to call someone, isn't it?
She reaches out and snatches the water skin, and she's still kind of hiding behind the pot lid, but she drinks from it and nods.
Mind that thou dost not drink too quickly. 'Twill upset thy stomach.
She gives you a look like not like condescending or angry, but a little confused, just like, why are you momming me? You get the impression that she has not been on the receiving end of any sort of mom-like behavior in a long time.
Aang, smiling, beatific in her lane, thriving.
From behind you, Aang, you hear Lorelai like clattering and grabbing dishware off of the table. Willow, you can see that Lorelai is grabbing all of the goblets that are visible on the table. Any goblet that does not have any sort of grime or muck in it, she is grabbing the goblets. And she's muttering to herself, just like, there's got to be water somewhere. Somewhere there's got to be soap and water.
Well, I was just kind of watching it for a second before she finally pokes her head around so that she's not coming into the room, but just enough to, like, Abigail would be able to see her face. But she is looking at and addressing Aang. We'll get a fire started, and I suppose some tea would probably be a good idea before dinner. And then she finally looks at Abigail. Feel free to join us when you are feeling up to it. I imagine you are actually rather hungry, considering the state we found you in. And just turns and starts ushering Lorelai down.
Right as you start to leave, you see Abigail, like, she steels herself and gets a little bit of courage and just goes, Are you one of the witches?
Willow just kind of like pauses and pokes her head back around, and she looks Abigail over. What is the vibe that she is giving with that question? Like curiosity or accusatory?
Roll me a perception or diplomacy check, your choice. She's not hiding her intentions so much, but discerning them is a little difficult because she's so tense.
Oh, that's great.
9. That's fine. The DC is low. With a 9, you can tell it's not accusatory for sure. There's no, well, it's not accusatory in like a church kind of way. It's accusatory in like she feels very confident, but she's not using witch in like the same sort of, she's not using it with the same sort of energy that someone would when it's like a slanderous term, right? She's she's calling you, or she's calling or she's using the word witch because there isn't another word she knows.
It's like, I know you were in this category.
Yeah. She's really like, are you one of them? Are you one of the people who does magic and is a woman?
Well, it just kind of like looks her head to toe for a second, and then just kind of shrugs. I can't say I much care for that term, but do I have access to magic? Yes. And access to a great many more things. You're a witch as well.
There's like a moment where she freezes, and she's already not moving a lot, but you can see that the little bit of movement that she had goes rigid. But she relaxes after a beat, and she nods once, and then once again more fervently.
Well, I think you'll find that if you also don't care for that term necessarily, this is probably the best group you could have happened upon. None of us have much care for, the way that people talk about our kind.
Yang will lean over somewhat conspiratorially toward Abigail, but in a friendly fashion. Willow is a very interesting human.
When you lean over, Abigail shies away a little bit, like when you get too close to a cat and the cat's just like, I don't wanna. But she listens, and she just goes, are you worried? I don't know, about what might happen? And she's talking to you, Willow, kind of speaking in a very broad sense, like, aren't you worried that using magic is bad?
Willow just kind of tilts her head slightly. Well, there's a great many things that can worry me in a given day. Magic is just one of those things. Not any more or less likely to cause a problem than me messing with alchemy and science.
She nods, and she loosens up a lot. And both you and Aang can see in the body language from her, she feels really comfortable around Willow. Like the kind of sisterhood that exists between them as both magic users or magic people is something that she has not experienced before. And that seems to strike a chord that otherwise wouldn't be struck with her.
Willow just kind of smiles, seeing the loosening up, and looks towards Aang, gives Aang a single nod. Well, let me get Lorelei into this camp before she steals the entire dining way of this dining room. Come on.
Lorelei has an armful of mugs and cups and wine glasses, and she's like, I'm going to clean these, and we're going to use them, and we're going to have a long conversation.
Oh, I promised you a long conversation already, didn't I?
Yes, but now I need to be drunk during this conversation, because nothing good can happen today.
No, you do not need to be drunk until after this conversation, because otherwise you are going to have the same conversation tomorrow, and I do not want to do that.
I will be a little drunk during the conversation.
Little. Emphasis on the little.
Did someone say something about drinking?
Lorelei walking in with like a fucking armload of mugs and cups. She has a rag that she is like absentmindedly trying to wipe them down with, but as she walks in, she'll hand one off, set one on the table, set one next to Pierre, just walking over, set one down, and just start wiping at them.
Is she just you said she's just setting mugs all over the place?
Yeah, any sort of drinking, like dishware, like a cup or a mug or a goblet, whatever was laid out on the table, but she is wiping them down. And as she's doing it, she's like, make sure there's no arsenic or poison inside this fucking drink.
I have a very firm belief that it's probably not arsenic or poison. It's probably something else that killed them all.
And she slaps him, like rubbing at one, and just looks up. Oh no, I have to rub even harder so that I feel better about it.
Or you could just not use them.
She looks up at you, Maddie, and just she does not know what to use instead. Well, how else am I supposed to drink out of it?
Maddie looks at her like, the fuck? Pops a cork and literally just takes a swig. Because she has some wine bottles that she stole. Literally
does not necessarily ascribe to table manners as a thing.
What? It's safer than using that stuff.
Again, I highly doubt that there's any greater issue than dust.
She looks at the goblet she's currently wiping down, and she will scooch over and just be like, "Give me that." And we'll make grabby hands for the bottle.
Does she intend on using the cup? Does it look like that?
No.
Good. She hands it to her.
Lorelai will take one stiff swig from the neck and then hand it back to you. And then she looks like stands up with a little bit straighter, a little bit more rigidity. And she's just like, oh, I can see the appeal.
Hey! That's the spirit. Who's next?
I feel like a pirate.
I love that it's catching on.
I imagine Willow will build up a fire over here.
Mm-hmm.
Bust up some tables and shit.
Easy enough to bust some tables, break them down, and make a suitable little place to set up a fire.
She will start some tea as promised.
Paige, Maddie, Hylas, what are y'all up to? Are you just monitoring Pierre?
Yeah, I think the most likely thing for my dude to do in this instance is, kind of stay by the door and stand by.
Yeah, Paige is just chilling. Very quiet. Very small. Probably either standing right next to or sitting next to the makeshift bed.
Pierre, in his unconsciousness, does look peaceful. He is resting well.
Paige probably follows suit with Maddie bringing out the fucking wine. It's like, you know what? That's probably a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull out a bartending kit. Yep. She's like, fuck it. She sets up shop in the corner. She's gonna make herself a drink.
Maddie will offer the bottle to her.
Imagine she takes it, she looks at it, gives it a sip, taste, pours it into the drink she's making. Hands back.
I think Hylas just has his arms crossed, and his eyes are just kind of falling between everyone in the room, mostly drawn to like what Paige is doing, but also kind of glancing at the door every now and then.
When you glance over towards where I imagine you're glancing in this direction towards where Aang and Abigail are.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So as you glance back over in that direction, we will cut back to Aang and Abigail. Abigail has been slowly uncurling, bit by bit. But she has mostly been sitting in contented silence for maybe anxious, maybe just uncertain of what to say. It's a mix of things. But she looks up to you, Aang, and she just shuffles awkwardly. And she mumbles something that you can't quite hear.
Aang will tilt her head. She has pretty good senses, so she's not quite used to this in particular. But she looks Abigail up and down. I must beg thy apologies. I did not hear what it was thou had mentioned. But if there is something troubling thy spirit, my ears are open, as is my heart.
She gives you a look again. One of those looks she already gave you earlier. Where it looks like she's taking a bite from a lemon. And she shakes her head for a second and goes, I don't know how to ask this without being rude. But what are you?
Aang doesn't seem fazed by this at all. An excellent question. 'Tis simplest to say I am a fae. But if thou art fond of stories, there is one I can impart upon thee as to the manner of my birth. 'Tis a very romantic tale.
There is curiosity in her, but she is caught on something, and she says, "You're a fae like that other thing? The one that went mad? Or are you a different kind of fae?"
Aang considers for a moment. All dogs are alike in character, are they not? And yet some are placid and kind, while others are trained for the hunt. It is no different. Didi was of the same kind as myself, but not the same nature. I myself am unique among my compatriots.
She looks guarded, and you can see her stewing on this question before she asks it. And she hesitates once and then goes for it the second time and says, "Are you going to try to eat me next?"
There's only a slight bit of hurt on Aang's face, because she doesn't like eating people, and she had hoped to avoid coming to this point quite so soon. But she can't fault the girl for asking, not in these conditions. No, I suspect that were my hunger to drive me to such an extent, I would more readily leave. And besides, I am quite full, and I've already made arrangements with some of the others. 'Tis not simply flesh upon which I dine. Magic, companionship, memories, these things may sustain me as readily as flesh.
She looks partially satisfied with that answer. The no sticks out amongst that to her very strongly. And the like casual confidence with which you speak like about it is unnerving to an extent to her, but she is sort of coming to realize that that is just a quirk of Aang's nature and not any sort of like negative thing. Like Aang is just very straightforward in a matter of speaking. And Abigail starts to piece that together. But she seems calm, but still a bit reserved. And she shrinks up a little bit. Through no fault of your own, she says, I think I want to be alone for a little bit.
There's a slight... In Aang's heart, she feels slightly as if she has failed. But that's not anybody's fault. And she is still, she will be respectful of this and smile and nod. So it shall be. Shall I stand guard for thee outside, or when the others have with their meal finished, wouldst thou prefer the company of Willow?
She thinks about it, and she shakes her head once, and then she shakes her head again. I want to talk to the witches. I think they get it. Something about it.
Very well, so it shall be. When thou art ready, simply knock on the door, thusly. Aang will knock a pattern, and I shall them for thee fetch.
She mimics the pattern on the little wooden pot lid she has in front of her, just to show that she was listening and she knows that she can call you.
Aang will depart. Take a seat.
Meanwhile, back in the main room here, Pierre is conked the fuck out. Lorelei has scrubbed several glasses clean enough that they could be used by Paige for making drinks of any kind. They're non-standard measurements. Like you're working with like a mix of different kinds of cups of different sizes, like a goblet, a wine glass, a coffee mug. Like it's just chaos. But you've worked with weirder things before.
Okay. This'll be fine.
So if you want to go ahead and make me a performance check for drink making.
Okey-doke. All right, Paige, you're supposed to be good at this.
That's good. 18's good.
Let's go. Muscle memory kicks in.
Yeah, it's the reflexive bartender muscle memory that you've built and honed for a long time. You're not putting as much flair into it, but
no,
it's not for lack of trying so much as it is like, or it's not for like a lack of skill so much as it is a lack of energy.
Mm-hmm. I imagine she even does some tricks, but they're very like just done. There's no showmanship, and it's very obvious that she's only half paying attention. So it's very much like 100% muscle memory.
As you finish making up a round of drinks, Lorelai will walk over and prop herself up on the edge of Pierre's little bed, established little bed area. And she sits crisscross on the perch of it, like a little owl. She will just say, okay, so where do we start? Who wants to go first? She points from you to Willow. But if someone has to go first.
Paige just looks at Willow.
Oh my god.
Stare off between the witches.
There's a single eyebrow raise.
Dear Lord. Willow, I imagine, is just very calmly waiting on some water to heat so that tea can be made appropriately. Just kind of one leg crossed over the other in her chair. Just leans back ever so slightly. And I don't know exactly where you would like us to begin. Do each of us have magic? Yes. Very different types, very different reasons.
Lorelai gestures like a broad open hand gesture and just goes, start somewhere, anywhere. Our childhood, perhaps. Did you get magic? Did you always have it? Or did you stumble onto something and then get it? If you stumbled onto it and got it, can I get it?
And Willow shakes her head. I have certainly not had it in my entire life. I acquired it when the two of us got lost and ended up in those tunnels beneath the tree.
She narrows her eyes. A few years ago.
And Willow nods.
And she points in the back room is like she's pointing at something, and she just goes, you could do that with just a few years of practice.
Well, to be fair, it is not rightly my magic. Whatever happened, because I don't quite remember much of anything about that day, beyond getting lost and a few flashes of things until we were discovered again. I now share this body. She just kind of gestures to herself. With at least 3 others. It's their magic that I borrow from time to time.
There's a present to your immediate right, Willow, of the still present Summer, who stands there and puts a hand under her chin and one hand on her elbow and just kind of goes, this is really a very rough 3rd degree. I expect she'll want a full recap of events as best you can get them, which isn't going to work.
Willow just kind of tilts her head in Summer's direction and nods. And you know what? I'm gonna, with your permission, Joe, do a thing.
What's she gonna do?
We'll look towards Summer. Do you feel like helping in this?
You're just outright talking to Summer?
Yeah.
Lorelai blinks and does a double take, looking at the empty space where Summer is to you, but is nothing to her. Summer puts a hand on her chin and drums it and just goes, I could certainly try.
And she said that this can work in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do face familiar.
Oh. Okay. So. Okay. It gives you.
Because you said it, because this one shifts from solid to solid physical form to ghostly version.
Yeah.
When we discussed
So you're
it, you
giving.
said that it could work in reverse for a very short period.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone can see this for a brief few moments. You can describe to me how it looks if you like, but there is just a crystallization of magic that hardens in and around where Summer is standing. And how does she appear to everyone?
I imagine Willow just kind of like tilts her head towards Summer, and you see like the consideration, and then she reaches out and takes Summer's hand, and essentially from where she is very clearly gripping something, almost like vines growing, suddenly a willow appears and is standing there, and I imagine she looks like a friendlier version of Willow. It's more in the expression and posture than in a hard difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Willow rarely ever looks that relaxed.
Very relaxed, very smiley. Lorelai, is gobsmacked. Completely beside herself, pun intended, with awe at this situation.
There's no change in expression on Hylas's face. He's still arms crossed. He's definitely looking, but he tilts his head.
Maddie?
Maddie gets up and gets really close and is looking at Summer. Puts her hand out to try and touch Summer.
In the moment that you reach out to try and touch her, the spell starts to wear off, but she is physically there for just a few moments.
It was like doing the poke. There was resistance, is the point.
Yeah, there was.
Whoa.
And just as she starts to fade away, you can hear her say in a perfect Willow, keep your hands to yourself. But it gets cut off of just like, keep your hands to...
So, is that like another you? Or is that like a different person that looks like you? Or how does that work?
Just kind of like the hand that was holding Summer's lets go, and there's just like it turns instead and does the side to side like kind of gesture. It is not a mystery I have fully figured out to myself.
Maddie sticks her arm where Summer was, is like waving it. Like, the fuck?
Lorelai is doing the same thing.
Please do not harass the others.
Lorelai immediately turns to you and just goes, how long have you had her? How many of there are you? Are there multiple yous? Are you still you? Are you a different version of my sister? Can she hear us?
Lord, if this is going to work, I need you to limit it to 2 questions in a row at a time.
He gets so pouty, like tight fist balled up at her sides, and stomps one foot. Fine. And she crosses her arms and looks at the empty space in front of her and just goes, how long have you had this one?
Willow just shakes her head slightly and kind of looks over at Maddie. Is Maddie just kind of curious, or like what's the vibe that we're getting off Maddie right now? Because Maddie's a hunter.
So, remember when Willow was interrogating well, really a lot of the weirdlings at the hunter's camp?
All of them? All of the weirdlings?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, well, I was gonna say one of them, but actually, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That, it's curiosity.
Okay.
She's like playing with the air, like, what the fuck? How? Where?
Marco.
Deciding, you know what? Hell, she doesn't seem like she's about to rip my throat out. That's good. That is useful. Willow just shakes her head. At the moment, I know of 3 others. They come and go as things that interest them, things that radiate their type of magic. Come and go. That was Summer. She normally would be very distant and very much asleep right now, as we are very much in the depths of man-made environs and surrounded by stone, but she also is the only one that I know that is capable of being helpful in these situations. And she just kind of like gestures towards Pierre. There's also one that I refer to as Winter. She's usually the one that would be more forward in a city like this, or a man-made environment, and then the one that you have seen for the most part today. I call her odd because the stranger in the more magical places, the more likely she is to come forward. And as far as I'm aware, all 3 of them have been here since I first got magic. They all ended up in my head at the same time. However, it has been a very long process in working out, let's just call it a system.
Paige from right beside you, sitting on the table, like one leg propped up. You hear like a, wow, she is something. Unamused.
She's like, oh, you're here. She just look at him in the corner of her fucking eye. Is he just chilling on a fucking table?
Yeah, he's just chilling. He's just sitting on a table. He's eating something. It looks like he's eating. It looks like he's eating peanuts from a bag.
Where the fuck do you get peanuts?
This jackass
brings this shit with him. Paige is incredibly unimpressed. New image vibe for Paige. Blasé.
Is he getting like the shells all over the floor, but like spectrally, or
is he making a mess?
He's not really making a heck of a mess. He is very diligently lifting up a peanut, cracking it into the bag, and then taking the inside actual edible part and eating it. So he's getting all of his scraps in one place.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Does Maddie smell the peanuts?
Maddie would. Maddie would smell the peanuts.
Oh my god.
Because from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, he's like a million layers of illusion magic to hide his presence, right?
Yes, and it is. He has to be very careful about what he does and does not. Like, he makes visible and not visible. So for him to reveal himself to only you, he has to very carefully weave his bullshittery. But he has to, if he misses a sense, or if he's not careful enough with his sensory inputs, he can be discovered.
Yeah, just like extracting a needle from a haystack, I think.
And I would be more than happy to let Maddie get a whiff of peanut because of the fact that he can't account for extra sensitive hound nose.
Hey.
Well, yeah.
So did it just appear, or has it been with us?
It is a scent that, it would have just appeared because he just opened the bag.
Paige is just unimpressed as fuck. He gets side-eye now.
The completely blasé, unimpressed reaction, like he looks over at you expecting you to have jumped or like, or be surprised or be awestruck at his presence, and you're just fucking flat. He just looks a little offended. He's like, well, happy to see you too, darling. It's hard for me to reveal myself to you, and I figure with all this sharing you got going on in your little circle here, well, I mean, it only seemed right that I share a little bit to you too, if you're interested. He offers you a peanut.
I feel like that piques her interest. So what do you mean? Share something with me. She's going to scooch a bit closer and hold out hand to catch peanut.
He swipes the bag away.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my god.
This fucking bitch. I feel like the Paige side-eye went back to blasé, and now is just back in full force. It's like glare now. Fucking rolls her eyes at him.
He surrenders and holds the peanut bag back out. I'm just kidding. Can't fault a man for trying. I gotta get my yucks from somewhere.
She just eye roll. Take peanut.
So, with all this mystery revealing such and such happening, he waves a hand in Willow's direction. And with what transpired in the other room there, he hooks a thumb backwards to like indicate the fight that just transpired. I recommend that you and I make some sort of a professional arrangement.
She's listening. Starts opening up the peanut.
He reaches in and cracks another peanut and shoves a couple into his mouth, and he just goes, now, see, my contract with your grandpappy was to keep you safe. And that extends very far. And in that fight, well, I can't lift as much as I used to, in a manner of speaking. But what I can do is offer you a little bit of what I have in store. And he wiggles his fingers, and his fingers kind of sparkle a little bit. And Maddie, you can get a very strong whiff of peanut in the air now.
That I would also point out is definitely not coming from Willow, because Willow smells like tea and fire, because there's also a fire like right below Maddie.
Her nose twitches. It's like, turns her head, looks over in the direction she's getting the scent. What does Paige look like?
She's just sitting on the floor, probably in between the little table and the makeshift bed for Pierre. She has her bartending shit just like laid out in front of her. half packed away. She's left out just what she needs to make another round. And she's resting her chin on her knees. But she's got a hand out in front of her. And in that hand is got something that she reaches up and just takes a little bite of.
As soon as the little something goes into Paige's mouth, Maddie, you get the strong scent of peanut, and you know, like she must have just had a peanut in her hand. But there's a weird, like, cognitive disconnect, because when you're visiting the memory of it, it almost seems like foggy. Like you don't have you're not, elephant memory level of person, right? But you don't have a bad memory. And it's weird to have that, like, that mismatch between something that literally just happened and now. It is an incredibly hard thing to convey, because I'm trying to convey, like, imagine seeing something and forgetting it the moment you see it, and then remembering that you forgot something only the moment after you forgot it.
It's like end of class, write down the homework now. Remember, you walk out of class, wait, what the fuck was it?
The magic he is using to cloak the food, it's very apparent that he thinks he's done by the time it hits your mouth. So he stopped covering it with magic. He's like, she's eating it. Nobody's going to pay attention to her just eating stuff.
But Maddie also, like, hasn't smelled the peanuts previously, correct?
Correct. This just came out of the air.
What the fuck she get peanuts from?
Yeah, that's the dissonance of, like, wait, where'd you get peanuts? I want peanuts. Peanuts sound good. The fuck? why you ain't sharing, Paige?
You're holding out on us, Paige?
That's gonna be Maddie's logic. I know it's kind of dumb, but
no, it's great. I love it.
No, I have an even better idea. So, Lorelai is grilling Willow, right?
Yes.
Once Maddie is more satisfied and more keyed in on the peanuts, right? She'll get away from the group and sit in front of Paige.
Oh.
So they're level.
Hello. He swallows peanut, looks up at Maddie, is thinking, what? Why?
The Mr. Talltails is also looking at Maddie like, why did she come over here?
So hold up the half bottle of wine. Trade.
Are you talking about one of the drinks that I made?
No. You have snack magic.
What?
Well, I mean, you're eating something, right? It smells good. Come on, don't hold out. Let's trade.
There's a blank look on Paige's face. She's looking at Maddie, but I'm sure Mr. Talltail can feel that in her peripheral she is staring him down.
He has stopped eating. His hand is in the bag, and he has, like, frozen solid because he's like, did I just fuck up? And you get like a tingly sensation that you can feel from on, like, the hairs of your skin standing on end, Paige.
Wait, hold on.
What are you waiting?
Wait.
What? Snack magic. I love Maddie.
I adore her.
This does count. That did count as a hex.
Do you have a thing for a hex when you use a hex?
Yep. I mean, Summer currently has trimmer sense.
Oh.
My wildling steward means that she has tremor sense and imprecise scent.
She can smell it too.
They're peanuts. I love that in both Pathfinder games now, peanuts are very important.
The not Willow, the Summer is standing next to you, Willow, and she, like, people were waving hands through her, and she was just kind of like shaking her head dismissively at it. But then you see her like sniff and adjust herself and sniff again. And she looks at you and just goes, "Did somebody bring peanuts?" Like carnival peanuts.
Willow just like looks at her like she has grown a second head for a second and looks around and then will stand up. And she's just a little bit taller than Lorelei, so she can just like look over Lorelei's shoulder and sees Maddie cornering Paige about food and Paige looking confused. And then there's just a grin.
So long, Charles.
Bye-bye, Charles.
I don't think I'm the only
well.
one that's going to be interrogated here.
In your periphery, Willow, you can see Summer counting heads. She counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then she points to an empty space and mouths the word 6, but looks over to you, and then there's a realization. And then she, in a very weird way, mirrors, but not actually mirrors, your wicked grin, because it's not a reflection, it's just your wicked grin.
Maddie, stand up for me.
What? Why?
Just trust me here. Stand up and take about 2 steps to your right.
Mr. Talltail like scrambles to his feet and just goes, "Well, it's about time I hit the road."
Fine. What's the...
He
Full nose of peanuts! Full nose of peanuts!
I have to roll a let's see here. He's going to try to tumble through your space, Maddie.
And dodge Maddie.
He is absolutely gonna try to like loop-de-shloop jump out of the way without touching Maddie.
She's gonna crash into Paige or some shit.
End up spilling that entire bag of peanuts and they just appear on the ground.
You guys ever see those videos of the people kind of playing hide and seek? Like, they're all blindfolded, have to rely on sound. One of them has a water gun.
Yeah.
And they're doing gymnastics like over furniture as quietly as possible.
Okay.
So he's on the table. Paige is right next to the table on the floor. And Maddie is zeroing in on him. It's like, oh boy.
Maddie, what is your reflex DC? So that's 10 plus your reflex save.
Let me see.
Should be relatively high.
Mm-hmm.
It's +4, I think. It's
14.
on the left, so yeah.
Yeah, 14. So he rolled a 3. So Maddie, you like turn and you start to sniff a little bit more, and that smell is getting not much stronger. It smells mostly strong in Paige's mouth. And then you feel like a slight gust of wind, like something just brushed by you. And then there is a click of a foot, and then just this person appears, or rather what sounds like a person falls over, ass over tea kettle, and just eats shit on the ground.
What
and
the
you see I don't know if I've shared his picture, but here is his picture for those of you who have not seen it yet in full. But he is wearing a brown coat and a like tweed type style suit underneath with a white scarf, and he is like looking at him, Maddie, as he like stumbles, falls completely ass over tea kettle over the table. Peanuts spill out of the bag. You can't smell the peanuts at all. Looking at him makes your eyes water. Like he's blurry. It's like looking through like glasses that aren't your prescription.
Ugh.
But he gets up and he just goes, God fucking shit.
Grab.
Him or the peanuts?
Roll.
Him.
Roll.
An important clarification.
Roll an athletics check.
If you roll a 1, you go for the peanuts.
Athletics, you said?
Athletics check. You're looking for a 14.
Damn!
Oh my god!
Oh, no, you don't.
Man's got snatched.
Where do you want to grab him?
Is it okay to do the grab wrist, go behind back kind of thing? Like police style?
For sure. Aang, from the other room, you hear what sounds like a scuffle and smashing of furniture and something falling over. And Maddie, you have easily arrested his arm behind his back, which is really frustrating because he doesn't smell. You're really close to someone and you're getting no smell from him. And on top of that, he's still like blurry. It's still like hard to look at him. But you can smell the peanuts now.
And who the fuck are you?
Ow. Wait, you don't need to be so rough.
You can let him go, Maddie.
Ow.
What? He was spying on us.
Well,
Wait,
I was
is he another you?
spying on y'all for a long time.
Maddie,
What?
Ow.
please
Why
let him
are you
go.
turning so damn tight?
Sir, I believe you need to just stay and explain a thing or two, otherwise she might bite you.
I'll explain myself if you just unwrite your arm from mine. I will be happy to explain myself. You have my word. And
fine.
He does come into focus now, and you can smell and hear and see him normally.
Where's the peanut bag?
It is like slightly behind him, like right about here.
Gets up and she takes the peanut bag, and she is going to seat her ass pompously on the table.
How the table have turned!
Hearing over his shoulder is just like, oh, I bet you feel real high and mighty, don't you?
But I don't know. Mr. Hugh got discovered because of peanuts. That's so sad. How did this happen? She takes a bite of the peanut.
Sneering out from beneath his like auburn kind of hair.
You want to be a petty bitch to her?
Before Maddie, like, when Willow told her to let him go, Maddie, like, looked at Willow hard and was like, fine. But before she does, she gets really, really close to his collar and takes a huge whiff. She's memorizing this fucking scent.
Okay. That for later.
This man is sus.
I imagine as he is being let go, Willow will finish with a cup of tea, just 2 cups of tea, and we'll just stand up and we'll walk some tea out to Aang and to I can't go through things. This is bullshit. And we'll see the closed door and just kind of blink and just hand Aang 2 cups of like a peppermint tea. One clearly intended for Abigail. You might want to come in at some point. There's quite a show going on.
The door cracks a little bit from the ruckus, and you can see that Abigail is listening in.
Aang takes 1 cup of tea, and let's see, does she? Well, I think the first thing she would do is smirk a little. Is Madigan causing trouble?
Yeah, she's involved in it. However, it is a... Oh, I don't think you've ever seen him before. It's a friend of Paige's.
Head tilt as she tries to process a friend showing up in here. The numbers do not quite number. But Aang is still, she's seen a lot of things. She is herself a strange creature. So, whatever.
Is thinking, did Paige make a new pet or something?
Hmm.
Did she find a rabbit in here?
As the door cracks open, she sidelong glance toward door, leans over toward Willow. Methinks she dost prefer thy company, Willow. She hath said that the witches, to use her term, understand it. Perhaps thou shalt gladden her heart with the tea.
Willow just kind of like tilts her head and looks towards the cracked door, and looks towards Aang, gives a little nod. I had some idea that she might want to have a chat. Yeah, she might also be entertained by what's going on here. She will take the second cup of tea and walk over to the crack in the door and push it just wide enough she can slide the cup through. You
Abby,
probably also want to hear what's going on. It would save you a lot of questions later.
Abigail's sitting right behind the door. She takes the cup of tea and looks up. Is there another fight?
No. Just some loud negotiations.
She is like Willow, you know the look of curiosity when it crosses someone's face, and she is like intensely confused and curious about what that means.
Come on. None of us are going to bite you. And you'll do better by a fire.
There's a fire going? And she actually seems very invested, like in the warmth.
Willow nods. Just gestures again. And Aang is actually a rather phenomenal cook when you give her a chance.
She shoots a glance over to Aang and then like looks down in a kind of like, oh, okay.
Aang will nod happily and seems to be actually pretty pleased. Yes. Is there anything that comforts thee? Food, perhaps?
She opens the door all the way and then will cautiously step out. I could use something to eat.
It's not fancy.
Bread left, because I imagine that would be good.
I imagine that, like, we probably... Because we didn't leave from... Actually, it has been a bit since we left Deep Field, right?
Like 2-3 days?
Yeah,
2-3
about
days,
2-3 days.
Yeah, so it's probably bread or something like, right? Because I was thinking if it's like a shepherd's pie or like a meat pie of some sort, we could probably have traveled with a couple of those, but not for that long. So, yeah, it's bread, probably. Aang will...
Stew.
We have bread and stew as well.
She at the thought of bread and stew, she like seems a little bit brighter and just goes, I haven't had any sort of stew in weeks. I would love stew.
It would be my honor. Aang will happily clop off to fetch some stew and bread.
Suit So kind of around the corner, you see a new face.
Clop, clop, clop.
Willow just kind of like opens an arm, doesn't touch Abigail, just opens an arm to kind of guide her more towards the room. And if you really want to have some function of privacy, we can give you the room divider. It will separate you from the fire, but, give and take.
She nods and listens along. But when she walks in and from across the room, she sees Mr. Talltails is about 6'2". He's tall, but he's lanky. He has a wiriness to him. And he's standing there like Maddie has him pinned with an arm behind his back. He has reddish hair that is about medium length, and he's wearing a suit. He is well dressed. Even like his shoes are very nice. And he does not have any traveling bags with him, though there are peanut crumbs on his knees from where he slipped and fell.
Bang will tilt her head. Mad again. Art thou tormenting a guest?
Fucking without missing a beat, you hear, "Yeah, mad again. Art thou tormenting your guest?"
You want to try that again?
No, okay. I think we got off on the wrong foot here. If you catch my meaning, and I think we all just need to calm down, and just have a nice little conversation.
I'll get talking.
But of course, after me. Well, my name is Mr. Talltails, and I am a benefactor of Miss Cuvier over there. He tilts his head towards Paige. See, a friend of the family, more or less.
Maddie tilts her head to look at Paige for confirmation.
It's a slight nod. She's more busy inspecting this peanut in her hand. She's being a little petty to him.
Aang will get bread and stew, and she will hand off a bowl and plate, to Abigail. But she will also get a bit of bread and come over and just stand next to Maddie. Not again. If he truly be a guest, we must needs offer him food and succor. Art thou hungry?
He's not a guest, he's a spy.
No, I am very much a guest.
He's telling the truth, Maddie. I've met him previously.
See? And Willow was very nice. Miss Willow did not put my arm behind my back and threaten me bodily.
Would you like some tea?
I would love some, Miss Willow, if you could call off your attack, friend.
Very wise decision in your word choice there.
I was hoping. Yeah.
Wow.
Tag friend.
So actually, Maddie turns to Willow and Paige.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're telling me both of you knew he was following us, and you didn't think maybe to mention it? We were kind of on a mission here.
Lorelei shouts and just goes, "Are there any more invisible people just faffing about in this fucking room?"
Yeah, I'd like to know too. Do you have one? Turns to Hylas.
And he was talking to something.
Exactly!
What? Invisible? No, I don't
You
got
were
one.
talking to someone. Who were you talking to?
Are you a magic user too?
He sort of like shifts his eyes like he's weighing how best to approach the topic. And he figures, he remembers the last time that he got into this situation with Paige, and thinks better of it, and says ahead of time, I guess as long as we're all sharing. Okay, don't freak out. And he takes the gun off his back.
There are several people who freak out. Abigail jumps back. Lorelai is starts to jump back. Mr. Tolhill is like, please let go. He has got a gun.
Maddie steps forward.
What are you doing?
Aang will try to slide the man the bread. This is very important to her.
Me the man?
Maddie still have,
or which man?
Have hold on Miss Talltail?
Oh, she let go of him when she sniffed him.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she took a huge sniff as assurance.
Okay.
Gotcha.
He said, "Oh, I thought that would go over a little better with a little heads up."
Iris, you need to tell them what you're doing before you bring out the gun.
There's not really a look of "oh" on his face, but just like a nod, like he'll try to remember that for next time. I think he's holding the gun forward, not in a way where it looks like he could feasibly be ready to shoot it. Like his arms are both outstretched. It looks like he's presenting a sword. He goes, couldn't really find a good time to tell you all this, but this here's Boastful Hunter. This here's everyone. You're not going to be able to hear him unless you and he makes motions with his hands in substitution of the words, unless you're touching him. He's holding the gun out as if he's welcoming people to try putting their hands on him.
Beeline.
You've elbow past Lorelai, who also wants to touch the gun. And if you both place a hand on the gun, you can hear in your head, what does everyone have said about it? Is something wrong? Why are you holding me like this? It's quite cold.
Whoa, were you sleeping, partner?
I was not paying attention. There's no beast, and I'm full.
Well, that there is just about his entire deal.
What? Mr. Talltails will accept the tea and the bread from Aang and Willow, and he will tip his imaginary hat and just be like, much obliged for the kindness. It is quite stuffy in here, so having a nice little refreshment will ease my woes. And he casually sips tea.
You mean the embarrassment caused by forgetting peanuts? Willow just smirks, gives him a pat on the shoulder before she leaves. And just sits back down in her chair, looks at Abigail, kind of leans over a little bit. I told you you'd want to be in here.
So Mr. Talltail will clear his throat a little bit and say, well, if you're all satisfied, I'd like to be on my way. I just want to get out of here. Don't want to overstay my welcome and such.
No. Finish your tea. Finish your meal.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah,
that.
warm welcome, don't you?
What was that Maddie said?
You want a warm welcome, don't you? As she moves in front of the door. Leans against it, arms crossed.
Can't say no to a warm welcome.
Aang looks over at Maddie, looks at Mr. Talltail. What stew be to thy liking? Thou must needs forgive my attack, Madigan. She's very excitable. And thou art terribly skinny.
He tips his head and just goes, well, thank you for noticing. I have been on a diet. And you are a well-spoken one. I'm impressed to see someone of your caliber cut amongst all of these, call them riffraff to be sweet.
Aang looks around. An interesting thing to say. And she will nod, not quite knowing what to make of that. Prepare stew. Fetch stew. Present stew.
He will happily take the stew and continue eating. And he feels awkward because I imagine there are a lot of people staring at him. Meanwhile,
we got 2 people inspecting gun over there, so.
Well, now that we have all of this out in the open, we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4 at the very least. Abigail can have a pass for this evening. Question apiece going around so none of us have to deal with, an interrogation that lasts all evening.
Lorelei takes a step back after fiddling with the gun and just goes, I want to break my 2 questions rule because I have too many questions.
No.
She stomps her foot again.
Towards one person.
She directs a question towards Paige and just says, so who is he to you? I know he's your mysterious benefactor. What exactly does that mean?
Correct me if I'm wrong, DM, but Paige has known about this guy for 4 days, right?
I think it's been a little bit more than 4 days, but yeah, thereabouts. Not a long time.
Because I remember it was the night before we got the deep field is when they met.
It's like a week stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been long at all.
Correct.
Yeah. And Paige, I imagine she doesn't even really like peanuts. She's just got the bag.
You took his snack bag and you don't even fucking like it.
Listen. He offered her a peanut. She's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll try one. He snatched it away and she took that shit personal. It's
a power play, just like my peanuts.
Yeah. And now she's doing that shit back. It's like, no, these are mine. I don't even like them though. But I'm just inspecting them. I might nibble on 1, maybe 2. But she looks to Lorelei and she thinks for a second. She looks to Mr. Talltail. Something like that, I think. It is, complicated. You see, I've only met him, a week? Less than?
You've only known about him for a week, at most?
She nods.
She turns to Mr. Talltail and just goes, so what's your deal? You just show up out of the blue and now you're her mysterious benefactor who's been here the whole time? Have you been following us around invisible this whole time? Since the beginning of this whole, she gestures around, escapade? He scoops a bit of stew with bread and takes a big bite and chews on it, and you can see him very carefully thinking about what to say. Not the whole time. I haven't been paying attention that whole time. I tune in and out. I try to take my try to give you all the privacy and room you need to do your fair share of exploring and fighting and whatnot. Can't constantly be running up against y'all and bumping into you.
But do correct me if I'm wrong. You have some connection to Paige's magical affinity.
That is correct, ma'am.
I'm beginning to wonder if that is not the case for almost all witches. Some third party that happens across a human.
Paige raises an eyebrow. But my magic is not harm him.
Willow just glances at Mr. Talltails.
He tilts his head back and forth and just goes, it's a little complicated. Magic once gifted is, well, at least most of the magic that I've encountered once gifted is within full rights of the giftee. So once someone has transferred power, well, it might as well not have been the first person's power to begin with. Which is why usually power comes with all sorts of little strings and bits and bobs to make sure that people can't go and turn around on the owner or previous owner. Kind of twiddles his fingers awkwardly.
Willow will shift her attention from him, give him a break before he starts trying to run. I imagine he's very much, if too much attention is on him, he starts acting like a cat, like clawing on the walls to get out. Look at Hylas. And
he looks at you.
Gun is sentient in its own right.
Oh, sure, he's just his own fella.
That what requires you to get in a fight every other day.
He's sort of tilting his head back and forth, like in a more or less kind of fashion, and he goes, he gets a little antsy if we don't go out and shoot a beast every now and then. So his definition of a beast gets
And what happens if he gets antsy? Is it just annoying, or does something happen?
I think
Does Hylas know?
There's a look on his face that indicates he's thinking about this. He says, well, he gets real fussy, that's for sure. And he looks down at the gun like there's a moment of doubt in his eyes.
You hear in your head, What are you talking about me?
Yeah, are you asleep down there, partner?
I'm just thinking about something else. Thinking about the most marvelous hunt we went on.
Oh yeah, which one?
Reminiscing. I remember there were some vampiric bear-shaped things that quite ferocious. There may be like 4 or 5 of them. It's possible there were more, but we took them out single-handedly, really.
Yeah, I guess we did do that.
I do hope that he is not considering any of us here something the TV show stunt.
Hey, I don't think you should talk to him because he is an asshole.
Hylas just smiles politely, but his head does tilt very slightly in Paige's direction while he's locking eyes with Willow. It kind of gets across the message, she said it, not me.
Mr. Talltails chimes in to say, now listen here. I met a lot of talking weapons in my day, and I ain't met one of them that was not the most conceited, self-centered, self-righteous piece of metalwork you ever did see.
Paige pointing to Mr. Talltail, nodding. As in, like, yes, he's absolutely fucking right.
I think Hylas puts the gun, safely back on his back, and he just kind of goes, and that's what I'll be doing, all of the, and that's why I'll be handling all the listening to him. Tripping over that sentence.
And will lean over. Willow. Earlier, thou didst mention 2 queries apiece. Thou hast queried thrice.
Just looks at her and like there's a little shrug and looks towards Maddie. Well, I guess that means it's your turn.
Fuck, I don't have anything, man.
Yeah, just one of her questions. Anybody else want one of hers?
Lorelai holds up a hand. I want one of hers.
Damn it, that was out of character, man.
That's why you have to have an accent, Iris, so that we know.
I try.
Oh, fuck. Wonderful.
Pass. Skip me. For now.
Willow looks at Hylas. Do you have questions?
No.
Paige.
She probably, like, closes the peanut bag. She ate, like, 2 max. Sits it down next to her, hand still on it, and she's still claiming ownership of it. She, props...
Petty thing. Petty thing.
Listen. The jig is up. Paige does not have to pretend to be purely sweet sugar anymore, alright? She's a petty bitch. Props, chin on a hand, thinking, looking at every single one. Doesn't really have any questions for Aang. Knows a lot more about Aang than she should. Knows. She doesn't really have any questions for any of the group.
She can ask Mr. Telltales too, because he is one of the 4 that
you're right.
Willow was like, hey, there's like 4 people that have mysteries. Aside
You know what?
from Abigail.
Yeah. She's like, there's just a look on every single person there. It's like, no questions. I know too much about you. Looks on to Mr. Talltail. There's a glint in her eye of like, target. So, what's what you saying again? About what was it you mentioned? Deal?
Oh, well, now, I figure if we're going to talk business, we don't need to talk business in front of everyone here.
Yeah, if you're going to talk business, I would say that Paige has the right to assign a negotiator if she chooses.
Well, Well, I won't tell you no, but if you really, I don't think y'all need a negotiator. More than anything else, it's just two consenting adults to exchange business information over a transactional process. Don't need to muddy the water with middlemen and such.
Paige, if you need an enforcer, cracks knuckles.
Down, attack Madigan.
Paige drums her nails rhythmically on her chin. She is having her upper hand position get a little to her head.
Oh, but what if I want to have some friends with me? Isn't that a good thing?
Well, of course, having a good network is always good to have. But, I mean, again, I prefer to do my business in secure locations behind closed doors that keep them eavesdroppers out and away. Lest we talk personal stuff.
Do you know, I think that, well, these doors are closed, no? This place is, secure. And you have been, eavesdropping on all of them, no? So, wouldn't it be fair?
Roll me a diplomacy check. Or I will let you roll diplomacy or what is it? I can't even remember the name of the skills. Or deception. Or intimidation if you want.
I don't have intimidation trained, unfortunately. I should. I'll go for diplomacy.
Okay.
Oh, not that one. This one. Boop. Boop. Whoops.
You have a hero point.
I do have a hero. Fuck it. Why not? All in.
Oh,
are you kidding? Even worse.
I will keep the 11. On an 11, Mr. Talltail gets a little squirrely. He really is like, no, now, come now. If really you want to talk about some potential avenues to work on, I think it would be best to talk with you and me in private, which we can do. There's a room back here, and he takes a step back and puts his hand on this door. Oh, well, it's a little locked, but ain't nothing to flick finger and a flick of the wrist can't probably fix. If you're one to talk business now.
The thing is that he said something, and she kind of does. The way he hinted. Of like, okay, he can give her something, and she's very intrigued and wants to know what that something could be. I'm gonna roll. Okay. So she turns and looks at the group. She tilts her head.
Would it be okay if I could give
points to Lorelei.
That one? My question was I could talk to Monsieur Toltail?
Aang will. There's a look of thought, and then. But thou hast made thy 2 queries. 'Twould be the 3 free.
I meant for the future rounds.
You mean for the what?
Future rounds.
future rounds. Oh, okay.
Paige intends to take him up on his offer and be like, all right, can I give my chips to Lorelai, who probably needs them?
Aang will nod and mentally add these to the tally.
Mm-hmm.
Do come back once you're done in your discussion, Mr. Talltails. I do have another question for you, and you are entitled to a question or two of your own.
He does look a little taken aback by that, as if he's pleasantly surprised he's included in getting questions. And that does entice him. So he will nod and bow respectfully. He's like, I would never dream of dipping out on y'all.
Willow is starting to understand how to function around these strange people and creatures.
Hop off table, straighten out dress. Grab peanut bag, it's still hers.
He will, as you are climbing off the table, he looks at you and just goes, "Don't mind if I got that back? Would you, if you don't mind, I would love to have my little snack back."
Paige looks at him, and she tilts her head.
Oh, but they are so yummy. But could I have them?
Paige.
What? I am just asking someone that, I am supposed to be walking with. Shouldn't we, share snacks? And you had so many.
His snacks already got him caught. You don't have to wave it in front of his face anymore.
Mr. Talltail will relent, and he's like, no, fair's fair. If you had tripped over yourself with your own bag of peanuts, I would have happily taken them off your hands as well.
Oh no, Paige wants someone as petty as her.
Yes, she mentally feels that Mr. Talltails will remember this.
Yep.
So, Mr. Talltail walks over and will brush his finger against the lock of this door. This is a heavy, sturdy iron door. And he brushes it with his finger, and you hear like a as the lock shifts in place. And he will push the door in, and it slides in.
Shit.
And as soon as that door opens, the meter that Lorelai has set down just starts going crazy. Like,
close the door. Close the door.
That's not great.
Closed door. Closed door.
No, we're not going there.
Just gonna grab him. Grab his fucking sleeve. Going the other way.
Hey, did anybody see anybody else's bones for a second there?
Nope. Excuse me, Maddie. I'm not going in there. Please excuse.
Maddie puts her hand out.
Paige is going to put a handful of peanuts in Maddie's hand.
Transaction complete. Yep.
Nah, fuck that. Nope, we're going in here now. You don't get a choice.
Mr. Talltail will walk over here. He will sit across from you.
Mr. Talltail is passing by Hylas. Hylas just happens to be, glancing in both of their directions as they're leaving the room. And just for a moment, not menacingly, not at all, just by chance, he locks eyes with Mr. Talltails as puts like a handful of almonds in his mouth.
I know you said not menacingly, but
I love Hylas so much.
As the door closes. Wait, you have almonds?
Bro, why is everyone hiding their nut snacks?
God, the snack magic is real. Hylas, did your gun give you the almonds?
Okay, so.
He reaches into his... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
This door once closed. Now Mr. Talltail like breathes a sigh of relief and he just goes, whew. I have not been in a room with that many people since before I came here. And I gotta tell you, I don't miss it. That is way too many people who are all looking at me.
Do you not like attention?
Oof, no, I'm a very picky man, and I like to have my attention in small, controllable doses. Hence the magic. Too many people looking at me causes problems.
She nods in a very much, I wonder why.
Now, you wanted to talk business.
Another nod. Puts peanut bag on the table.
He will slide a chair out and then take a seat. And he'll gesture for you to take a seat as well. Now, it has come to my attention that y'all are getting into some pretty dangerous territory. And I warned you about that, Hank. I told you no good comes from him.
I know. I did not want her to be with us either.
You got a good head on her shoulders. But if something goes wrong, if next time you need to enlist the help of a ne'er-do-well type, which I can respect. Sometimes you need a hand or two that is, less reputable, let's say. I can respect the need for specialties. And if you come upon your need for the specialties of a creature that is less than favorable, less than savory, you will need a way to protect yourself. And the way I see it, you are sorely lacking in some of those areas.
There's a twitch in Paige.
He steeples his fingers. Now, I can help you.
And what are you offering?
I'm offering for you a handful of tricks that I personally received from a Hellfire Devil. No, I am not kidding. And no, I will not go into further details. Just say, for brevity's sake, I did help maneuver a fiendish type. And they do not like it when you get one up on them. But I know a handful of tricks, and I'm willing to part with them. If for no one else than to the granddaughter of a personal friend of mine.
Paige is very interested, but she is trying not to show that she is incredibly interested.
Roll a deception check.
Oh boy, she's not been rolling that great tonight.
Oh.
Nope. And no hero points. Rip.
I will give you a hero point for participating in this deal, at least, because I think that's cool. If you want to use it now, you can. But
well, I'll just save that. I think I'm going to need it later.
This, I'll tell you for free that Mr. Talltails is very sharp-eyed. So he doesn't seem to show anything right away, but if you give him an inch, if you give him even an inch, he will spot it and take it as far as he can.
I think that there's just a shift in Paige in her eye of interest that she just pulls back just too late.
Mr. Talltail, with his fingers steepled, will do like a little drum from the tip of his pinky to the tips of his index fingers. And he looks over at Paige. I take it you are at least passingly interested in my offer.
She hums.
I'm interested to see what you are even offering. You haven't really gone into, what is it, detail?
He smiles. Would you care for a demonstration?
She nods.
He will hold up a hand, and with his hand just up in front of him, he will flick his wrist, and a ball of fire spawns in the spot above his palm. It's about the size of a baseball.
Mm.
And it just floats there. A very brazen show of magic. And it is giving off a very powerful heat.
Paige looks up from the fireball to him.
And I am guessing that it is not just a little nightlight?
He nods and he just goes, very perceptive. It is not just for lighting your way in the dark. And he flicks his wrist again, and the ball just vanishes. And he holds up his other hand, and he looks at you and then looks to his hand as if to signal, like, watch this. And his hand, his fingers, like, grow and elongate, and the fibers of his fingernail start to stretch, and his hand expands outward into this monstrous claw, not unlike Dee Dee's hands towards the end when she had taken her mask off and just become full monster. His hand bends and stretches into this gross, demonic-looking, like, vicious claw. And he flexes his fingers and drums them now in this new state. And with each drum of his fingers, he makes a little gouge in the table, as the claws are so very, very sharp.
And
he will flick his hand, and his hand will slowly shrink back to normal. I could show you more, but I think I'm painting a pretty sensible picture.
She nods.
So, what is it that you want?
He smiles. I want a little bit of that delightful little lifespan of yours. Not all of it. Not even half of it. Not even a tenth of it. Just a little bit of that life energy that you got. That stuff that makes you bright and youthful.
How much?
He puts a hand up to his fingers, or he puts a hand up to his chin and drums his fingers, and he goes, well, now that is a good question. My question I would pose to you, ma'am, is how much do you want? I could certainly give you several tricks of your choosing. Or I'd be happy to only part with one measly little trick.
Considering that I don't know how well they work, I would only do one at the most.
He nods. Well, how about I make you a deal then? I give you all the tricks, and you give me all the life that I would need for said tricks. And in exchange, if you don't like them, or you're unsatisfied with your end of the bargain, we can undo this deal. Call it a test run.
She thinks for a second.
And what if we just did... What is the word? I heard Willow say them before. Installments. So, if we do the whole batch, we just do one track and one bit of energy at a time. And
He smiles
then
and
do
nods his head.
the whole take-backs if I don't like them.
He smiles and nods along. I'm fine with installments to see how you fare.
So, the energy that you want, was it to make me die sooner?
He kind of purses his lip and tilts his head back and forth. Not necessarily. See, the youthful energy that I'm after is really what you're already exuding right now, living moment to moment. I just want a little bit. Just a skosh, really. I don't need a lot.
And what happens to me once I give it to you?
You might feel a pinch, a bit of lethargy, but honestly, I don't think you'd feel much. And roll me a perception check.
I was gonna say, I don't know if this man's being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Perception. Where? Oh, it's over here. Right. I forgot. Wait, not initiative. Wait, do I roll initiative? Oh, there it is. Found.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling. Man, I really should have just set up my fucking dice tray.
I'm sorry.
And I was like, just an RP session. I won't be rolling much. I'm gonna use hero point.
Yeah, don't you have hero
Did
point?
that with fucking Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I like dice, man. There you go. On a 21, he's not being as forthcoming as you would hope. He's certainly underselling how badly it might hurt.
Mm-hmm. Paige hums, takes a single peanut, breaks it, fishes out a little bit, nibble.
And are you going to actually be honest with me? Or are you just going to downplay the effect?
He holds up a hand in surrender. I'll be honest with you now. I think it's only fair. You deserve an honest man. Now, will it hurt? Yes. But, in full honesty, I do not have a good frame of reference for how badly it will hurt you. I've never been on the receiving end of this deal. I'm the one who makes this deal. But I can tell you one thing. With the other peoples I've stricken similar bargains with, they are usually right as rain within a few minutes. That initial grab, though, it is a bit of a nasty one.
She hums.
And if I cry out in pain, you do realize that you might get hurt by the others.
He clicks his tongue. That is a fair point. Well, I trust you to not sell me out to the coterie of folks you got in the other room there just by giving it a good yell. I think you can probably make it through without much of a peep.
Mm.
Now, above table, I will tell you the mechanics of this deal.
Please.
So, the mechanics of this deal are, if you are looking at your character sheet on the character tab, you see where you have your attribute modifiers?
Uh-huh.
If you click on edit and look at the attribute modifiers, if you go to Constitution, and you give yourself a voluntary flaw in Constitution, you will get access to specific spells. Two specific spells. You will get Fire Ray, which is a focus spell.
Okay.
You will get Gouging Claw, which is a cantrip. And you will get one spell of any level of your choice as well. Additionally, every level of a spell you get from here out, you will also get an extra spell of that level. That would be the installment.
Gotcha.
You're going to get a cantrip, you're going to get a first rank spell, and then you're going to get, I believe you can cast second rank spells now.
Yes.
So you get a second rank spell of your choice.
Well, I see, you heard me talk about how Paige is a fucking power-hungry bitch, and you really, like, I can work with this.
You said it, and I was like, I've got exactly what she wants.
Yeah, no, this is exactly. Okay. I'm down. Paige would be down.
Okay. Then he will hold out his hand, and there's no magic that you can visually see on his fingertips, but there is like a hum of power in his palm.
She pauses for a second. And what if I want to keep some of the ones that I already have? Could we just cut off the installments and be even?
He smiles and shrugs. I don't think you'll want to stop once you start.
Just, umami, no? Would that be possible?
He keeps his hand extended, but he says, I don't know. I've never had someone want to stop before.
I feel like at this moment she's like having second thoughts. But
we could find out.
I feel like for a second her hand's like, okay, if I can't pull the plug when I want to, I don't know. And I don't think we really cleaned up after the fight, did we?
Not too much, no. Cleaned up Aang, and I imagine a little bit of cleaning otherwise, but for the most part, I imagine there's still a lot of blood.
Yeah, I imagine some of the blood catches her eye, and she's just remembering last time she was in this exact fucking spot. How her brother almost fucking died, and she couldn't do jack shit about it. That kind of steals her resolve. She reaches out, much more determined now.
It's okay. So you have yourself a deal.
Shake hand.
You shake his hand, and when you clasp his hand, it is like a steel trap like he locks onto your grip and you shake on it, and you feel at first like the cold skin of his palm, and it just feels like a normal palm, and then you feel like a stinging sensation, like your arm is going numb, and it hurts, and it never builds to a point that it is never like sudden, but it gets louder and louder, this like creeping numb pain that kind of tingles, and the sensation of it is painful, but you can, I'll leave it up to you if you want to yell or not. You can grin and bear it without making any noise.
I would say that she's never been good with pain. But she is nothing if not stubborn. So she grits her teeth, and there's probably the slightest little, like, yelp that she stifles as much as she can. She grits her teeth to bear it.
Good.
Okay, so I think I did it right on the sheet.
Yes. If you click the flaw, it'll apply the flaw and everything that comes with it, and you can go ahead and add Gouging Claw to your list of cantrips.
Hold on. Gouging Claw, and then what else?
You would get Gouging Claw and a special focus spell, which is... I need to look it up again. Where is it?
Fire Ray, right?
Yes, Fire Ray.
Okay, so we get those two things.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
This man sound like a drug dealer.
Because he kind of is dealing drugs.
It kind of is. Power is a drug. At least for Paige. Okay, cool. I shall add these to my sheet. I will regret this later, I'm sure.
See, now, that's why he was like, you can keep the peanuts. Take them.
Yeah, I'll get them back later.
Meanwhile, while this deal was transpiring inside the room here, what were y'all... Aang, you have questions you can ask to anyone in the room.
See, I was busy focusing all of my brain cells on remembering the number of free questions available. And remembering a number is very difficult for me. So I did not think of any questions in this whole time.
Kira.
I know. My bad. I also wasn't sure. You know what? All right, let me think here. Aang has 2 questions plus 3 floaters. Let me see. Aang will ask a question to Lorelei. And it will be a very straightforward question. Just, Aang likes this game because it is a game with clearly defined rules, and it feels comfortable to her. So she will take a step forward, small step, look toward Lorelei. How came thee to be interested in Welsh?
Lorelei, like, blinks for a second, and she gets a little bashful about it, and just goes, "Oh, well, funny story. Well, growing up, language was always one of those things that mother and father had us practice religiously. And I was never quite good at any of the common ones that you and brothers would study." And she continues and just says, "And, well, there was, of course, someone to impress. I wanted to impress my parents, but, well, more than anything, I wanted to try and prove that I could do a non-standard language." I wanted to prove it to, well, and she kind of shrugs. Kristen first. He was always so good at both reading and writing in other languages.
So.
She nods and points like, yeah, see? But he doesn't know Welsh.
Aang will nod. Indeed, there are a precious few who can say that they do know the language. 'Tis a shame, most terrible. Looks around the room again, considers, turns to Hylas. Hylas, 'tis your name, is it? 'Tis thy name, is it not?
Yeah.
What is thy favorite meal?
Favorite meal? He
And nods. She's very serious about this.
He stares blankly for a minute. A while ago, his hand stopped going into like his coat pocket for trail mix. I think he froze his brow, just like it kind of looks like he's scrambling for an answer, but he's not like really frantic about it. And he answers a little quickly. Guess whatever's on hand.
There's a slow blink from Aang. She turns to Willow. Outside of the realm of the game we are playing, is that answer in good faith?
Genuinely doesn't know, I suppose so, but let's put it this way. Hylas, well, you promised to think and consider and give a better answer in a few minutes.
Did I break a rule or something?
She likes to cook. She wants to know what you want her to cook.
Aang nods.
He just smiles and goes, "Oh, I'll eat what everyone else has eaten."
Slow blink.
I guess take that as a challenge. Cook whatever you like for him until he finally decides which one is his favorite.
I suspect he would not favor that which I favor.
Ew. And Willow just like looks at Hylas up and down. I do not mean this in any rude way, but you are a very strange fellow. He might.
Aang will consider this for a moment, narrows eyes at Hylas.
I've been told that. I'm not really that strange.
I shall undertake thy challenge. Turns, looks back at Willow. Those are my 2 queries. I surrender to thee, Willow. There are 3 remaining unclaimed.
Willow just kind of like gives a little nod, but then she like turns and looks over her shoulder at Abigail, who I guess is sitting on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask?
She kind of starts like, oh, I didn't think I got any.
Yeah, you're here, aren't you? And I assume you have some curiosities, considering the fact that we just walked in on you hiding.
She nods and looks around at everyone. And she looks up at Willow. Yes?
I should clarify. Since she walked into the room, Hylas has not, looked at her.
I think she prefers it that way, considering the fact that he pulled out a gun.
It's more, he was tracking her, before running into you all.
It's fine.
He has been, his head has been fully turned in the direction that she is not since she came in.
It, he has to make a conscious effort to not look at the bottom corner of the room. It's like, ooh, nothing interesting over there. She is kind of unsure of what to ask or who to ask. But she will ask something about she has to ask a pointed question to someone.
In general, yes, though if Aang gets on her, then I think Willow might fight Aang just a little bit for Abigail's sake.
She won't. Aang won't get on Abigail. She's being a stickler with Willow because she's friendly with Willow.
I think also too, after Aang asked her questions, Maddie just grinned. You asked 3 questions too.
Oh, did she?
Yep.
What was the third one? It was what was your favorite meal and
she asked a
why?
question to Willow in clarifying the second question.
No, I was actually saying she asked if Hylas was his name.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. There's a. Do you say this in character?
Yeah, she has a mischievous grin.
Aang will smile, and it's a very wide smile. Ah, so you are correct, Madigan. I have erred. There are 2 questions really available.
Abigail puts a finger on her chin and just looks up and says, "Why are you all looking for me?"
That is a complicated answer. It dawns on me that we haven't exactly introduced ourselves properly, have we? And Willow will just turn in her seat and hold out a hand. I am Willow Delaunay from Termont. That is my sister Lorelei.
Lorelei will bow with at the waist. She's like, "The pleasure is ours."
We'll give a very pointed look to Maddie over her shoulder.
Maddie will try to raise her good hand, or her regular hand, but then wince a bit, raise her other hand, give it a little wave. Name's Maddie. Hunter from Termark. And we're here to protect you, by the way.
And lastly, Abigail will turn to Aang.
There's Hylas too.
Oh yeah, Hylas, sorry, shit. He wasn't looking at me.
Trying really hard to blend into the wall.
He is.
6'3" of wall right now.
He's fully looking at the door.
Aang will smile. I am called Angelrod.
The one that left the room with the odd-looking fellow is Paige. That's her brother Pierre, asleep on the bed. And we'll look at Hylas, stare at Hylas. Does Hylas respond to being stared at?
His hand is midway to the doorknob. As he he tries to coolly act like he wasn't reaching for the doorknob by taking that hand and doing a little wave, and he just goes, Hylas, we met.
She blinks and just goes, I thought I recognized you. What happened to you?
He starts adjusting his hat, still not quite looking at her, and goes, what happened to me? Well, got separated, then I got lost and ran into these folks.
Lorelai, whoops.
Hi.
My bad. Lorelai, starts up and just goes, wait, you've already met? And she's pointing from Hylas to Abigail and back.
He strokes his chin and says, oh, I didn't say that?
No.
Memory's not too good. Yeah, we ran into each other a few days back. I was paid to find her. Now that's not right. I was offered money to find her.
You never told me who.
Very quickly. The rest of us were not paid nor offered money.
What was that?
The rest of us were not paid nor offered money.
Mm.
And Abigail just says, you never told me who paid you. But you said that they were all right. I think.
He shrugs with kind of a... It's a scoff, I guess. And he says, couldn't think of the name at the time. Mr. Biggs. That's it.
Imagine there is a matching grimaces from Willow and Lorelai. A man that is certainly not alright.
And
had a lot of money.
That he does. But why does he want you?
Is that directed at Hylas or Abigail?
At Abigail, sorry.
I figured you might have known him before.
Abigail.
Not the case?
Abigail shakes her head. I've never met him.
Willow, do you think this Biggs guy, I don't know, have similar reasoning to ours?
Well, it just kind of tilts her head one way and the other. I can't be certain. She looks at Abigail. To answer your initial question, we, through some rather unconventional means, that you either had or knew of some object of particular power. And were likely in danger because of that. We came to try and make sure that you stayed as safe as we could manage.
She kind of furrows her brow and says, I don't have any object of power. I think I'm just like you, like a witch.
Well, that leads to a question, I suppose. Have you always been magic? I know I have not, and well, Paige left before we could ascertain exactly how long she has had magic or known she has had magic. But I imagine it's been for a little while at the very least.
She nods her head and she opens her mouth to answer. And just as she does, that is when Paige, you would be finishing up your bargain with Mr. Talltail, whom you are welcome to come back into the room with if you like.
Sweet. Boom.
Here's the door open. Willow turns, sees Paige before Paige can even get fully into the room. How long have you known you've had magic, Paige?
Paige, tired as fuck. I imagine just fucking walked in here. Could I at least sit down first?
Yeah, you can answer as you're sitting.
Unbelievable. Gonna fucking walk over here. Fucking take your seat back on the table. It's her table now. Oh, before she does, though, she does walk by Maddie. Here, Maddie. Peanut bag.
The whole bag.
Yeah. She doesn't fucking want him.
Hell yeah. Munch, munch, munch.
Sits down. And she sits up on the table, takes off her hat, reaches in, pulls out a little bundle of chocolate, puts her hat back on. I think pretty much always.
Willow kind of like looks her over head to toe. It's a little like, huh, okay. And then she looks back to Abigail.
Abigail nods and points to Paige and says, I've also had my magic for as long as I can remember. I haven't been able to control it, but it's been there.
Paige nods, bites into the chocolate, a snack that she does want to eat. Yes, it is lucky. I think that I only started using it when I was fuck, how old was I? Thanks for a second. 10-ish? Handsets? You know, when you are supposed to get taller?
You didn't get taller, you just got magic.
She opens her mouth, she closes her mouth, she's like...
There's a little bit of mischief in Willow's expression as she says this.
It's like, not exactly.
Abigail speaks up and says, I heard once that magic always takes something whenever you use it. Like it takes something from you to work. I don't know what it takes from me.
Paige nods, gestures to herself.
Yes, I didn't know that at the time, so I just used it all the time, and then I just didn't grow.
She shrugs. Oops, eats more chocolate.
So, if you don't know of any object or possess an object of power, perhaps your magic is linked to it, and that's why there has been such a fuss over you.
He looks up a little nervously. Are you gonna take me to him?
Mr. Biggs? Oh, no. I would sooner skin myself alive than talk to that man willingly.
Hylas raises his eyebrows. I think he looks, still not looking at Abigail, actually, but he raises his hand and says, just to put it out there, not on that job anymore.
Yes, you've made the smart choice.
Abigail opens her mouth and starts to ask a question. And she goes, "What job?" Oh, and she looks over to Aang. I think I asked too many questions.
Mm. Aang will just smile very kindly. Well, thou art a guest. 'Twould be ill-fitting to consign thee to the same rules which govern the rest of us.
Plus, everyone's already broken the rules anyways.
And
Wait,
us
we
are
still-
very used to the strangeness. You are
Are you?
new to it.
Hylas squints, and under his breath, so only like Maddie could hear probably, he goes, there were rules.
Poor beautiful Hylas.
Will incline her head towards Maddie. Did you think of anything you'd like to ask?
Oh, yeah, actually. I don't remember if this is asked, so I'm just gonna play it up. That even if it wasn't, or if it was already said. So, like, what city are you from? Abigail.
Yeah. Abigail, she blinks for a second and shrugs. Oh, I'm from Loam.
Everybody jump really fast over to the map.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't
Loam
that where...
That's where Hawk's from.
Yes, that is where Hawk's from. Aang will brighten up. Ah, like Alexandria.
She smiles and nods. I heard about her. The Huntress lady.
What do they say about her?
That she's... a lot of people are proud of her. They talk really highly of her. All good things.
Maddie gets a really like I don't want to say the word serene because I don't have a better word to describe it, but kind of like oh good, I'm happy, this is good. Like very small and sweet smile, which usually Maddie is like more over the top with her actions and whatnot, but she seems like really happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Aang seems equally pleased. Do you have something you wanted to say, Iris? I didn't want to cut you off if so.
I mean, technically, Maddie asked 2 questions.
Aang will, smiling in much the same manner as Maddie, turn to Abigail. Alexandria was the one who told us of the... She is my... Well, we are family.
Abigail looks a little puzzled at that, but
Willow very quickly lifts a hand. That is a very complicated story.
and right then, right as you say that is a very complicated story, the bed with the unconscious Pierre stirs a little bit, and he rolls himself over and wakes up. What happened?
Oh, the boy lives.
Paige, dropping her fucking chocolate on the table, runs over.
Hello, are you okay? I don't step just so quickly. It's okay.
He brushes his hand away, and he's like, "I'm fine. My head hurts, and so does my chest,
No,
my
she
neck."
almost died.
He blinks and turns. He's like, "Died?"
Not highly, just almost like a discourse.
Holds up 2 fingers.
He just blinks once, real slowly. And I think with Pierre waking up, this will be a good spot to end it for now.
By the way, there's a lot I need to catch you up on, buddy.
If we're ending it here, I'll request an end of session note. Because Willow was about to turn to Mr. Talltales and be like, okay, you get your questions before I get fussed at that people haven't had their questions.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's a good thing to do. I agree
End
with this.
of session.
Like, if Willow continued this circle of conversation start, I feel like Aang would be like, Willow, somebody hasn't had their questions yet.
She absolutely would.
Here has awoken.
I hope that wasn't too annoying. Aang just
no,
questions.
it's very funny. It's very funny.
Yeah, I find
Makes
it
sense.
endearing.
Willow is probably the least concerned person for being called out. She is used to being called out. She grew up with 3 siblings. All of them were
That's
like
true.
this. But all of them call each other out, but also all of them lay out rules and break the rules immediately after. The only one that struggles with that, I think, is Lorelai, because she gets called out the most.
Lorelai
baby,
is,
right?
yeah, she's the youngest, so she breaks the rules.
That was fun.